The best animated movie from each year of the past decade. The past decade of cinema has seen some of the most impressive, creative, and best animated movies ever released. The advancement of technology has allowed the visuals of animations to grow exponentially, though a few films from the era show that the classic style holds up well. Beginning with 2015, every year of the past decade has had a slew of animated movies that deserve to be in the conversation for the best. There are Oscar nominees, modern classics, and beloved sequels that still aren't the best of their given year, simply because of the sheer number of great animated films in recent memory. To end up as the best animated film from a specific year, a movie must truly be incredible. It has to be critically acclaimed, beloved by casual moviegoers, sometimes be groundbreaking, and be the kind of thing that is going to withstand the test of time. 2015, Inside Out. If there's one year in the past that didn't feature a ton of memorable animated movies, it's 2015. Minions was a big hit but a critical misfire. The Good Dinosaur isn't viewed as a top-tier Pixar film, and as good as Anomalisa is, it's not all that well known. The animated film that brings everything together and stands out in 2015 is Pixar's Inside Out. The film nearly grossed $900 million, won Best Animated Feature at the Oscars, has beautiful visuals, and was popular enough to spawn a sequel nearly a decade later. Inside Out centers on the various personified emotions that exist in the mind of a young girl. The creative way the emotions are showcased is classic Pixar, while the voice acting is perfect with Amy Poehler as happiness, Phyllis Smith as sadness, and Louis Black as anger, just to name a few. 2016, Your Name. 2016 was a huge step up from 2015, and several major films could have been considered the best. Moana and Zootopia, or two of Disney's most iconic modern films, Finding Dory grossed over $1 billion, Sing started a franchise, and Kubo and the Two Strings was one of the most underrated animated films of the decade. However, the best animated movie of the year goes to Your Name. Written and directed by Makoto Shinkai as the first installment in his unofficial disaster trilogy, Your Name follows a boy and girl who suddenly have the ability to swap bodies. It brings them chaos, yet they also start to fall for one another. On its own, that's an intriguing premise, but the film is special for the various twists that come later involving different time periods, and Your Name gets better with each rewatch. The music is fantastic, the visual style is breathtaking, and the heart of Your Name has it in the conversation for the best film of 2016, animated or not. 2017. Coco. 2017 was an up-and-down year for animation. Films like The Emoji Movie were maligned, while sequels like Despicable Me 3 and Cars 3 were fine but disappointing for many. Meanwhile, the likes of the Lego Batman Movie and Loving Vincent, a creative look at the life of Vincent van Gogh, impressed many. Pixar was back on top in 2017 with the release of Coco. This magical film centers on a boy who loves music, but it's forbidden by his family due to their tragic past. Miguel ends up in the land of the dead and gets help from his ancestors to return home and get them to change their minds on music. On top of winning Best Animated Feature at the Oscars, Coco also took home Best Original Song for the touching Remember Me. The film was widely praised for the visuals, soundtrack, screenplay, Latin representation, and voice acting. A sequel, Coco 2, is on the horizon. 2018, Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse. Ralph Breaks the Internet and Incredibles 2 were two of Disney and Pixar's most well-received sequels, respectively, yet they faced tough competition this year. 2018 also saw the unique Isle of Dogs and I Want to Eat Your Pancreas, yet there was one animated film that easily takes the crown. Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse marked a special moment in both animation and superhero films. Sony struggled with the Spider-Man license thanks to a slew of poorly received live-action films, but their animated take on the superhero is among the best adaptations ever. Into the Spider-Verse takes various Spider-People from different universes and brings them together for one remarkable adventure. The animation style was a game-changer for the genre, looking like it came straight out of the pages of a comic book. The movie won Best Animated Feature at the Oscars and was praised for everything from the soundtrack to the humor. 2019, Klaus. Commercially, 2019 was massive for animation as highly anticipated sequels like Toy Story 4 and Frozen 2, along with the Lion King remake, each grossed over $1 billion at the box office. The year also saw intriguing films like Missing Link, Weathering with You, and I Lost My Body. Interestingly, the best animated movie of 2019 was one that flew under the radar. Klaus is one of the most underrated Netflix original movies ever made and follows a postman sent to work at a small town of angry people who befriends a reclusive toymaker. The movie works as an origin story for Santa Claus, done in a clever way. Klaus won Best Animated Feature at the prestigious Annie Awards and holds a 95% Rotten Tomatoes rating. The voice cast, led by Jason Schwartzman, J.K. Simmons, and Rashida Jones, is great, while the visual style is different enough to stand out in a good way. 2020, Wolf Walkers. 2020 was a difficult year for cinema. Many movies were delayed, so there aren't a lot of animated options to choose from. Pixar's Onward and Soul are very good, while sequels like Trolls World Tour and The Croods: A New Age were fine, originals like Over the Moon were overlooked, and even Scoob, the new take on Scooby-Doo, was forgotten. Thankfully, right at the tail end of the year, Apple TV Plus debuted Wolfwalkers. The third entry in Tom Moore's Irish folklore trilogy, Wolfwalkers centers on a young wolf hunter who becomes best friends with a girl who can transform into a wolf. The first two installments of this trilogy, The Secret of Kells and Song of the Sea, were met with widespread acclaim, and the same goes for Wolfwalkers. The Oscar-nominated film is another look at how expansive animation can be and how many different styles can make for something beautiful. 2021, Encanto. 2021 saw a big jump in animated films released. Raya and the Last Dragon might be Disney's most underrated animated movie, The Mitchells vs. The Machines came from out of nowhere to be one of the best films of the decade. Luca was another strong Pixar release, and Marcel the Shell with Shoes On is an adorable modern classic. That said, one animated movie captivated audiences like no other in 2021, and that was Disney's Encanto. Another Best Animated Feature Oscar winner, this film was a huge hit with critics but even bigger with moviegoers thanks to a touching story, likable characters, and an addictive soundtrack written by Lin-Manuel Miranda. Encanto tells the story of a Colombian family who all have magical powers except for Mirabel, yet it's up to her to save the family when their abilities begin to fade. We Don't Talk About Bruno was a song you couldn't escape once this film was released, and Encanto somehow gets better with each viewing. 2022, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. The options for the best animated film of 2022 are as good as it gets. Suzume is similar to the aforementioned Your Name, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio is magnificent.